Another thing that the NFL always does is it gives you a game. One game, and of course it's always one game because it's game of the year, but always gives you one game in a season that you'll never forget. For instance, I think it was about 2 years ago. It was Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs against Jared Goff and the Rams. That was a game. I think that was probably the highest scoring game ever, I believe. That was probably the greatest, one of the greatest games that we've ever seen. And when I started by that because one, the game last night just threw off my whole game. I had a whole rundown of what I was gonna do, but it is what it is. The game last night was the game of the year. And what makes a game of the year? It could be the scoring output, it could be the drama behind the game, it could be the stakes, it could be there. I've seen defensive games. I think, I remember a game, I believe it was Alabama and some LSU or something. I think it was 9-0, but that was a really good game one time. But what makes last night's game between the Ravens and the Browns the game of the year? One, this game meant a lot to both teams. This game meant a lot to the Ravens. The Ravens pretty much have to win out to make the playoffs. Right now, well, after the win, they are 8-5, I believe, but they need every win. And the thing is, because this year is so different, is why they need every win. Usually, an 8-5 record would at least get you in the wild card. But because the AFC is so loaded and so good this year, they need all their wins. So going into last night, the Ravens needed all the wins. The Browns, while they were 9-3, we remember the Browns struggle with good teams. Hell, we remember the first game of the season this year when the Ravens just beat the brakes off the Browns. It's like we're waiting for the Browns. We were waiting for the Browns to beat that signature team. And of course, going into the game, the Ravens weren't playing well, but they did bounce back and played an incredible game last week against the Cowboys. And as we know, like I said, the Browns are 9-3, and I think they want. They wanted to They needed to come back and play better than they did game one against the Ravens. So when you have a Ravens and Browns game, you don't expect high scoring. That's not what we got last night. Last night, I think the final score was like 47-42, and this game had a lot of drama, especially in the game. Lamar Jackson was playing incredible. Last night offensively, they looked a lot like the Ravens of 2019. Lamar Jackson had two running touchdowns, and both were electric runs. Gus Edwards had a rushing touchdown. I know J.K. Dobbins had a rushing touchdown. It's like this game had everything you could ask for. And where did the drama come in? So Lamar Jackson gets cramps. Now, the memes were going crazy on social media, man. This was the Paul Pierce game. Lamar Jackson had to go use the bathroom. I don't know what it is, but Lamar Jackson had cramps. And Lisa Salter did say something that it did make you think. This is the second day or the second game Lamar Jackson is coming back from COVID. Now, it would be different if he was asymptomatic. There's a lot of people that test positive for COVID that are asymptomatic, but he wasn't. I think Lisa said he was asleep for like 10 straight days because he had no energy to do anything. So, coming back and then you get thrusted into the second game. I understand, people are like, well, why didn't it happen the first game? I think adrenaline kind of got you the first game. Not to mention, he didn't really have to do much against the Cowboys. The Cowboys is horrible. Now, the Browns, on the other hand, are different. So he had cramps, and then once he had cramps, all right, when he went out, I think the Ravens were up 14. He goes out with cramps, goes to the locker room. Boom. The Browns score 15 straight points. Now the Browns are up one. Trace McSorley comes in, gets hurt. Like, I don't know. I hope he's all right. He gets hurt. As soon as he gets hurt, you realize, oh, wait, the Ravens don't have a third string quarterback because it would have been RG3, but RG3 is on IR right now. All of a sudden, you see Lamar Jackson just trotting out there. You're like, oh, Lord, here it comes. And then, boom, Lamar Jackson did it. Lamar Jackson gets them to, I think the first pass he comes back is a 44-yard touchdown to Marquise Brown, who, by the way, look, I understand. Look, don't call me out. All right. Don't call me out on social media. And then you have multiple drop balls. He had, 3 notable drops. He had one that Trace McSorley threw him, and he had 2 wide open passes that he dropped from Lamar Jackson. But he redeemed himself at the end, caught the touchdown. You go up. Lamar Jackson's jumping around, blah, blah, blah. The Browns come back, score again. Now it's a tie game. And I think there was like a minute and 7 seconds left. You got Lamar Jackson who's the MVP. You got one of the best tight ends in the league in Mark Andrews. And then you got one of if not the greatest kicker in league history, Justin Tuck. Boom. Go down. Justin Tuck gets in field goal range. I think 55 yards. He hits it. Ravens walk home. They win. This is, and like I said, this game, another reason why it was a game of the year is because it was unexpected. Yes, you have an electrifying offense electrifying player that is Lamar Jackson, but you don't expect the Ravens, who is a rushing team, defensive first team, and the Browns, who really is a rushing team with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and a defensive minded team. You don't expect them to score 47 and 42 points. You don't expect that. And the thing is, it wasn't because it was bad defense. Now I understand you're looking at damn, 47 points ain't bad defense. What it is the offenses were just so good this tonight or last night. It was so good that there was nothing the defense can do. Not to mention, the Ravens are dealing with a lot of secondary injuries. I think they were down to their 8th string freaking cornerback at one point. They are decimated right now on the defensive side of the ball. Well, key position of the defensive side of the ball. And the Browns was going at, I think it was Devontae Harris. They were going at that man. It was bad. But hey, it was a really good game, man. And this game really solidified a lot. It solidified that the Ravens are still a team that can still win. Yeah, they dealt with injuries. They dealt with COVID. Their defense has a lot of injuries on that side of the ball, but they're a team that can still win. They're a team that's still a run first team. I believe Lamar Jackson only completed 11 passes and finished with over 200 or over 300 yards, total yards. It it was incredible. And on the other side, let's talk about Baker Mayfield for a second. A lot of people, including myself, was skeptical when you take Baker Mayfield number 1. When you have a draft with Lamar Jackson, when you have a draft with Josh Allen, you take Baker Mayfield number 1, and then we remember the season that he had last year. Now, yeah, you have Freddie Kitchens. Yeah, you have a lot to go. In fact, 2 years, it was pretty bad. But this year, he has shown that he can be a winner, right? Now, again, we needed to see what he looked like against the good teams. You can beat on the Washingtons, you can beat on the Dallases, you can beat on the Eagles, but what happens when you play against a good team like the Steelers like the Ravens or the Steelers? Because the Steelers beat the brakes off them too. That's what we need to see. And even though they did lose, Baker Mayfield played one of his best games. He's probably his best game he had as a starter. He made accurate throws. He made the right throws. Yeah, he had one interception, which was a bad interception, but that interception didn't really tell the tale of what happened the entire game. So Baker Mayfield played incredible. Lamar Jackson came out like Superman out that tunnel. He played incredible, and this definitely is the game of the year. Like I don't see another game that even close to this game. It's funny when preseason comes out and when the schedules come out, you kind of look like, all right, what could be game of the year? Everyone and their mama would have thought that the game of the year would have been the Ravens and the Chiefs. Everyone would have thought that. But no, this game was 10 times better. Hell, the Ravens and the Steelers were a better game than the Ravens and the Chiefs. But again, shouts out to Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens for beating the Cleveland Browns, and that definitely was the game of the year. That game had the drama. It was played incredibly. You know what I mean? Like it was an incredible game. Like there was really no unit that was bad except for the secondary for the Ravens because they're so decimated with injuries. But Marlon Humphreys did what he could do. Peters did what he could do. So this game was incredible, and this most definitely is the game of the year, which was the Baltimore Ravens against the Cleveland Browns.